Welcome to Word Part 2 at the Ela Area Public Library. This is an abridged version of the class normally held in person. Although the library is currently closed, you may still access our handouts from our website, eapl.org. And then from the links on the left, select Research, followed by a reference department at Home, and then Computer Class Handouts. And then from there, you can select Word from the links at the top of the page, and that will bring you to our Word classes. Word 2 is located here, so to download the handout, we'll select the download link on the right, and that will bring up our handout. Let's go back to the Computer Class Handouts page, and from there we can access the two documents that we will need in class. The first is European Travel Itinerary, so we'll select the link here. If you are using Chrome, then you will receive a button in the lower left, so you will click the up arrow there and then select Open. If you are using a different browser, you will probably need to retrieve the document elsewhere. It may appear in your Downloads folder, or you may have the option on where you wish to save it. If your document is in protected view as shown here, then simply click Enable Editing, and then you will be able to work on the document. So then we'll go back to the Handouts page to download our next document, the addresses. So we'll click the link there. Again, from the lower left, click the arrow and then Open, like so. And again, we will need to click Enable Editing, and now we are ready to proceed. To get started, let's go back to the European Travel Itinerary document. We will use this document for the next several exercises in the class. The first exercise is the word Thesaurus. Word has its own built-in Thesaurus. Let's highlight this top line here, which reads, "From Paris's art and cuisine to Copenhagen's relaxed lifestyle." Now suppose we wanted to use a different synonym for the word relaxed. One way to do so is to right-click on the word, like so, then hover over the word synonyms from the menu. Then we could select one of these options here. If we wish to go further into the Thesaurus, we can click Thesaurus here at the very bottom of the menu, like so. And then from this pane here on the right, we can select the word we wish. Let's try laid back. Hover over the word, click the down arrow, and then select Insert. And then if we look in the document, you'll see that it has switched the word to laid back. We can also access the Thesaurus in the ribbon. Suppose we wanted to change the word finest. We click the word, then click the Review tab, and then the Thesaurus command is here at the upper left of the ribbon. Then we'll click that command, and it will give us synonyms for the word finest here on the right. We'll stick with the word finest for now, so we'll close the task pane with the X here. Let's go back to the Home tab to begin our next section on foreign letters and symbols. We're going to begin with the Spanish letter Ñ, which looks like a letter N with a tilde on top of it. So suppose this itinerary will be mailed to a client in Spain, a Señora Núñez. Let's type her name here after the deer. And here we'll type SE. Now we need to add an Ñ in lowercase. The first way to do so is with keyboard codes. If you look at page 10 of your handout, you'll see keyboard codes for some common foreign letters. The code for Ñ is the Alt key, which we hold down, And then from the keypad on the right-hand side, we type 0241, then let go of the Alt key, and now we have the letter Enye. Let's finish the word, then we'll begin the last name, NU. Now we need to add another Enye, but this time we're going to use the symbol command. So we'll click the Insert tab, and then here on the right side of the ribbon is the symbol command. We'll click that, and that will bring up some very common symbols here. Copyright, trademark, pi, for example. We're going to choose the More Symbols option, and then that will bring up a box here. We need to look here where it reads Subset. Right now it's at Currency Symbols. We're going to click the down arrow, and let's scroll upward and select Latin Extended A, like so. And now you will see the Enye is located here within that group of letters. So to add the Enye, we'll click Enye, and then select Insert. And from there we can add other symbols if we wanted to. But since all we need is the Enye, we will select Close. And now we've added Enye again with the symbol command. And then we'll finish up the last name like so. Let's go back to the symbol command and again select More Symbols. We'll look here on the bottom first, and you'll notice Recently Used Symbols. That will help if you use the same symbol or foreign letter frequently. Let's now go back up to the subset. Right now we're in Latin 1 supplement. If we click the down arrow and scroll down, you'll see we can access other alphabets as well. Here's Greek and Coptic, for example. Here's Cyrillic if you need to type something in Russian, and so on. Let's now hit cancel, and we'll move on to the next step. We will now move on to the paragraph and spacing command. Let's suppose we want to double space our document. First, we need to hit Control-A to highlight all the text. Then we'll look here in the paragraph group, and the line and paragraph spacing command is here. We'll click the arrow and then switch to 2.0, and now we have double spaced the entire document. Let's highlight our text again and go back to the line and paragraph spacing command. You'll see we have other options here as well. We can triple space, we can do a 2.5 line spacing option, or we can click line spacing options here, and from the pop-up box, notice we have a spacing section here. So let's suppose we wanted to quadruple space. Under line spacing here, we'll click the arrow and select multiple, and then we'll type 4. Under the box it reads at, and then we'll click OK, and that will quadruple space our document. Now let's undo so we go back to our normal spacing, and then scroll back to the top. The travel agency address is at the top of the document. You will notice there is a full space after each line of the address, and we would like to get rid of that. So we'll go to the line and spacing command, and here you'll see that we already have it at single space. Notice it's 1.0. So what is the reason for the full space after each line in the address? The reason has to do with the Enter key. When we typed our address, we selected the Enter key after each line in the address. In Word, whenever we select the Enter key, it initiates a new paragraph. So according to Word, each line in the address is considered a full paragraph. In addition, our document is set up to add a full space after each paragraph. So we need to change that setting. So let's highlight the address. We'll go back to the line and paragraph spacing command, and then choose the option on the bottom, remove space after paragraph. And now we no longer have spaces between the lines in our address. We are going to switch to the Page Layout tab for our next two exercises. Let's look at the page setup group here on the left. The first thing that we are going to do is to adjust the margin. So here's the margins command, and we'll click the arrow. We're currently in the normal margin. You can tell because it's highlighted blue. Let's try narrow. Now we have a narrow margin throughout our document. Notice you don't have to highlight the text to switch the margin. Let's go back to the command, and now let's try a wide margin. Now we have a wide margin throughout the document. Not surprisingly, we have even more options available in the margins command. Let's select the command and choose custom margins on the bottom. And at the top here, you'll notice we can adjust each side of the margin. So for the top, let's move it up to 1.5. On the bottom, let's choose 3 inches. On the left, we'll keep it at 2, and on the right, let's change it to 2.8, and then we'll select OK. And now we've adjusted the margin accordingly. Let's go back to margins, switch it back to normal, and now let's go back again and go back into custom margins. Notice the gutter option below the margins, as well as gutter position. Currently it's positioned to the left, but we could also switch it to the top if we wanted to. Let's adjust the size of the gutter by gradually going upward, and notice the preview changing below. When we get to 2 inches, let's select OK. We now have a 2-inch gutter in our margin. This can be helpful for documents that we want to put into a binder. And let's click undo, and then we'll move to columns. Before we can use the columns command, we need to highlight our text, and then we'll go to the upper left of the ribbon in the page setup group, and the columns command is here. So let's first select the command and choose 2, and we now have 2 columns on each page. We'll go back to the command and choose 3, and now we have 3 columns on each page. Let's go back to 1 column, and now we'll just highlight 1 paragraph on page 1, the second to last. And now if we go to columns and select 2, we've created 2 columns, but only in a portion of our document instead of the entire document. Let's undo our previous action, like so, and now we can scroll back to the top of the page. We can choose more than 3 columns if we wanted to. So let's highlight our text. Then from the columns command, we'll choose more columns here at the bottom. From the box that pops up, we have these presets at the top, but below that is a space for number of columns. Let's go up to 5 columns and then click OK. It's a bit hard to read, but you can now see that we have 5 columns per page. So let's undo that. We'll scroll to the top, and then from there, let's go back to the Home tab before we begin bullet points. Bullet points are a good way to emphasize important information or to display a list. Let's create a list here below destinations, and we'll type the following 4 countries: France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany. Then we'll highlight our 4 countries and we'll go up here to the paragraph group. In the upper left, we have the bullets command. So we'll simply click that command, and now we've created a bulleted list for our destinations. If you prefer, you can set up the bullet command before you type your list. So let's undo the previous actions. Then we'll click the bullet list first, and from there we can type the 4 countries in our travel itinerary like so. We can also change the look of our bullets. So if we highlight our list, go back to the bullets command and select the down arrow, you see we have this bullet library here with different style options. Let's select the arrow like so, or we could even create a numbered list with the command to the right of bullets. So if we select that command, you see we now have a numbered list. And of course we can change the style here as well. For example, here we have Roman numerals. But let's go back to our original bullet style. And now let's add our 5th destination. So we'll click the end of Germany, hit the Enter key, and you will see that it maintains the bullet format. And then we'll type Denmark. Let's suppose we forgot a destination. Suppose we went to Switzerland after we went to the Netherlands. So let's click at the end of Netherlands and then Enter. And then we could add Switzerland like so. So the bullet format will work in the middle of the bullet list as well. But let's undo that because we only need 5 destinations. When you're ready to get out of the bullet point format, this is the way you do it. So let's go at the end of Denmark. We have to hit Enter. As you can see, it is maintaining the bullets format. So then we'll click the bullets command, and that will bring us back to normal. We are now going to create a multi-level bullet list with the Tab key by adding cities under our destinations. Let's click the end of France and then the Enter key. You will see that maintains our current bullet format. Then if we hit the Tab key, it starts a secondary level bullet list with a different bullet style. Below France, we will add Paris. Then when we hit the Enter key, you will see that the secondary level format will continue. So we will add Marseille after Paris. Then let's go to Belgium, and we'll add 2 cities under Belgium. So let's hit Enter, and then Tab again, and here we'll add Brussels and Antwerp. And finally, we'll add 2 cities under the Netherlands. So again, Enter and Tab. We'll begin with Amsterdam, followed by Rotterdam. We can add more levels in the same manner. Let's add a 3rd level after Paris. So let's click the end of Paris, followed by Enter and then Tab. And now we've started a 3rd level bullet point list. So let's say we go to the right bank first, and then we go to the left bank, like so. We now have a bulleted list with 3 levels. The next thing we're going to do will be to add a comment to one of our destinations. So let's click the Review tab, and then we'll highlight Paris, and we'll add a comment about Paris. So in the ribbon, there's a new comment command here towards the left. We'll click that command, and then in the box that pops up on the lower right, we will add capital of France, and then click the X to close. We can do the same with Brussels. So let's highlight Brussels, click New Comment, and then let's type capital of Belgium, and then we'll click the X to close. The reader of your document will know that there are comments because of these balloon symbols on the right-hand side of the document. To access a comment, you simply click the comment will appear as shown, and then the item that the comment is about will be highlighted in pink in the document. Before we go to the next section, let's delete all comments by clicking the arrow by the delete command, and then delete all comments in this document. From here, we'll move to the References tab, and we're going to add a footnote, and the footnotes group is located towards the left side of the ribbon. So let's add a footnote to Marseille. So we'll click the end of Marseille, and then let's add a space. Then we'll click Insert Footnote, and that'll bring us to the bottom of the page. And then next to the number 1, we'll type second largest city in France, like so. Let's click the end of Antwerp, and we'll add a footnote here as well. When we click Insert Footnote, we'll go back to the bottom of the page, but now we have a number 2. So here we can type second largest city in Belgium. And that's how you add footnotes. You'll notice in the footnote group, we also have an endnote option. An endnote will insert your comment at the end of the document rather than at the bottom of the page. Let's add a header to the top of our document. So let's scroll up to the top, then let's click the Insert tab, and you'll see we have a header and footer group towards the right side of the ribbon. So here we'll click Header. You can see we have many different header options. We will choose the first option called blank. So we'll click that option, and then where it reads type here, we can type itinerary, like so. And then we'll select Close Header and Footer. And if we scroll through our document, you'll see we have that header on every page in our document, like so. We can also add page numbers in this manner. So let's click Insert. We can scroll back to the top. The header and footer group also has a page number option. So we'll click Page Number, then select Bottom of Page, and from there we will choose plain number 3. Then we can close our header and footer here on the right. And if we scroll through the document, you'll see we have page numbers in the bottom right corner of every page. We are finished with our travel itinerary and ready to move on to printing envelopes. So let's select File, New, and then Blank Document. It's easy to print envelopes from Word. First, we'll switch to the Mailings tab, and then click the Envelopes command on the left-hand side. Then we fill in the delivery address and the return address. So for the delivery address, let's suppose we're going to mail it to the library. So we'll put in that address, 275 Mohawk Trail, of course located in Lake Zurich, Illinois, 60047. And then for our return address, let's use the travel agency from our first document in this class. When we're ready to print, of course we'll hit the print button here. But let's preview the envelopes first by clicking Preview here in the lower right. This will tell us our envelope size. Right now the size is 10, which is a pretty standard size. But if we wanted to change the envelope size, we could do so here. We'll stay with 10 and click OK. Next to the preview option is the feed option. So let's click feed, and this will tell us how to feed the envelope into the manual tray. As you can see, right now we are at face up, and this is the direction that we will send the envelope through the printer. It's kind of hard to tell, but the stamp side would be on the top and the return address would be on the bottom. If you are printing from the library printer, the manual feed tray will be either in the front of the printer or located at the side. So now let's click OK. And then from here we would select print to print our envelope. But let's do add to document, and this will give us a preview of our envelope. So now let's select undo, and now we can start the mail merge. You may recall that we have an Excel document that we opened from the website called addresses, and we are going to merge these addresses into Word. We don't need this document open, but you'll want to remember where you have it saved. In this case, we have this document saved in the Downloads folder. We are going to merge the addresses from our Excel file into labels that we can print from Word. The easiest way to do so is with the Mail Merge wizard. So let's click Start Mail Merge on the left side of the ribbon, and then the step-by-step Mail Merge wizard on the bottom. This will initiate a 6-step process in which we can set up our labels to print. Notice we have a pane open on the right-hand side, and in the lower right here it reads step 1 of 6. So let's first go to the top of the pane to select document type. We are going to click Labels, and then we'll click Next on the bottom. You can now see we've gone to step 2 of 6. But know that if you need to go back to a previous step, you do have the option to do so. In step 2, we will set up our label options to Avery Easy Peel Labels number 5160. First, we'll choose Label Options on the right. Then from the pop-up box, we will change our vendor from Microsoft to Avery US Letter. And then in product number, we need to scroll down to 5160. There are a lot of product numbers, so you may need to scroll for a while. 5160, and then click OK. And then this pop-up box talks about any unsaved changes to our document. We don't need to worry about that, so we'll select OK. And then next to step 3. Then from here, we can select our recipients. We have 3 options as shown at the top. Use an existing list, select from our Outlook contacts, or type a new list. We will use an existing list, so from there we'll click Browse, and then we need to locate our addresses document in the Downloads folder, highlight addresses, and then click Open. Then from this pop-up box, you'll notice it reads Select Table on the top. We only have one table option. Sheet 1 is shown here. So we'll click OK. Then we'll get a preview of our recipients. That looks good as well. So we'll hit OK. And then step 4. From here we can format our addresses. So let's click Address Block towards the top. Then we get a pop-up box. The right side shows a preview of our address, and then the left side gives us various options in which we can format the address. Let's format our addresses to make them look less formal. If you look at the preview on the right, you'll notice it reads Miss Sally Martin, and then also includes the name of the company. So let's look over here on the upper right where it reads Insert Recipient's Name, and let's try the Joshua Randall Jr. option. So if we highlight that and look over on the right, it now reads Sally Martin as opposed to Miss Sally Martin. Let's go back to the left now and uncheck Insert Company Name. And now if you look at the right, you'll see the address no longer has the company name. So let's hit OK. And then before we move on to step 5, it's important that we click Update All Labels. And then if you look over on the left, you'll see the formatting of the labels is starting to take shape. Then we'll move on to step 5. You can see from our labels that we are almost ready to print. In step 5, though, we do have the option to make some edits if we wanted to. For example, we could edit the recipient list. We could even change the font by highlighting our text, going into the Home tab, and then selecting a new font. But let's go back to the original font, and then from there we'll click Next, complete the merge, and then make sure you put your label paper into your printer, in this case Avery Easy Peel 5160, and then you're ready to print by clicking Print in the middle of the pane. On that note, we have completed Word Part 2 at the Ela Area Public Library. We hope you find this class to be useful, and thank you for watching.